You cannot
They're
make,
human
no,
beings.
stop. You cannot use subconscious bias if that subconscious bias is now, as demonstrated, resulting in disproportionate negative outcomes for black people. Why are black people being perceived as being criminal when the white people aren't?
Subconscious bias. They're just individuals. They're a jury of your peers. They're not like these like political streamers like you that know all this stuff.
I know, and that's you're proving my point for me, my friend. You're actually becoming based. You're actually becoming majorly based.
I'm already based.
So here's what we've come to understand now.
I've been based from the start.
We've actually come to a basic understanding that subconscious bias exists, and it's possible for that subconscious bias to negatively affect people, and that the subconscious bias is present in most everyday people that they're not even aware of. Yes. That's the problem. Yes. That's the systemic problem. That's why you bring awareness to the issue.
So yeah, like trans people, trans men, trans women, there's no such thing. You can't change your gender. It's just like a dumb thing. Well, whatever you want to talk about. Like the first video you reacted to, you're like all pissed about some black guy that like went to the right. You literally did the same exact thing, only you went to the left. You're like, oh my God, this guy's so predictable. Dude, I can predict every single argument you've ever had.
The reason it was cringy when he did it and not when I did it is obviously going to be partially purely like a matter of opinion, obviously, and about which politics you agree with. So if you agree generally with the right-wing politics, obviously you're going to be psyched up when you see somebody joining the right. For me, however, I think that there's a difference in the fact that his reasoning is incredibly shallow, whereas I feel like I can at least flesh out pretty substantive reasons why I left the right.
But you didn't really explain why they're shallow. You said, oh, 1350. Oh, there's a lot of crime rates. And then you basically explained that away by, oh, there was historical redlining. There's historical racism, structural racism. But you never really dive any further into that. You just kind of, that's your argument. Just like for trans debates, you do, oh, this study said so. That's it.
I don't do that with the trans stuff. And nor did I do that with the thing either. I didn't just say it's shallow. It's just that I didn't just say this is shallow and then move on. It did lack nuance. What's a specific? I'm trying to remember a specific that was very shallow in that video.
But listen, your nuance was, oh, it's because of redlining, and that's it. And we're just supposed to say, oh yeah, redlining. That's why there's so much crime.
Well, I can explain. I don't think that that's all I said, but I will explain it to you.
Yeah, redlining
is not that there is previous historical policies that we're still dealing with the downstream negative effects of today. Does that make sense?
It really doesn't, because there are plenty of black people that make it out and do well, but there's these small subsets of black, and the main issue obviously is fatherlessness, is gang culture. I mean, plenty of things you could actually bring up, and not just, oh, these structural systems of systemic systems.
But it all comes back to that. That's what you don't understand. So like the gang violence is no. That's all it
does.
It's not. It's getting to the foundational. This isn't, and just to be clear, this isn't an excuse for crime or criminality. It's just an explanation. It's not a no. It's not a justification.
Roll your eyes at 1350, but the shit is really happening, right?
I know. But the thing is then you roll your eyes at me drawing attention to the fact that that exists as a result of downstream negative effects of racist policies. None of which is hold on, wait, please. I just want to be crystal clear that I am not saying that makes it okay. It's not a justification. It's just an explanation. Just want to make that clear.
An explanation. So then why is this black dude that moves to the right because he sees like all the racism on the left? Why is he like ridiculous? Oh, he believes in personal accountability.
No, the racism that he saw on the left was his own dad saying that white people are dangerous.
Why is that ridiculous? I just don't understand.
Because his own experience with racism on the left was his father saying that white people are dangerous. That's what I meant about it being shallow, is like just looking at that and being like, oh, look, my parents say white people are kind of bad, but then it turned out they weren't. That's the shallow bullshit that I'm talking about.
But that's like a lot of the left's argument. It is white people are bad. I mean, your argument of redlining, it boils down to back in the past, white people are bad. So don't you think that leads to animosity in the
Wait,
present? So
you're the
white
one
people
making
in the
this about
present?
white people. I'm not. I never
You
brought up
just
white
brought up
people in
white
this.
people, dude. I didn't bring it up. You
White
did.
people. It happened as a result of the way that history played out. Since white people were superior in the society at the time.
Oh, white people are superior. Hold
They
on
were
now.
superior in the society at the time at their own
Oh, okay.
hands
I got you.
because obviously they were controlling things at the time. They put themselves on a pedestal. They never really were superior, of course. But no,
I thought you
I'm
slipped up
never
there.
saying this is just the
Good that you
fault of
cleared it
white
up.
people. It sounds like that's you. It sounds like you're
No, that's
boiling this down
literally
to
what
like,
you
so
said.
you just think white
His
people are
dad
bad?
said.
This isn't just like white people are bad, you see. No, these are bad policies that, I mean, if you want to say they were carried out by white people, okay, but this isn't
And
the
by the way,
fault of
they
white
didn't just
people
affect black
collectively.
people too, and you understand that, right? That redlining didn't just affect black people.
Yeah,
Also
but it
Irish, also
disproportionately
Italian.
affected black people.
But yeah, well, I could just say, yeah, crime, imprisonment disproportionately affects black people too. But whose fault is that? I mean, is it people? Is it the people committing the crimes, or is
Partially,
it
yeah. But then you also have to look at
systemic
why do
structures
people
and
commit,
structural racism?
well, why do people commit crimes?
You tell me.
Well, you're saying like, is it a result of structural this, that, and the other thing, or is it because they committed a crime? Like, it's because they committed a crime. But like, why do
But
people
then
commit
why
crimes?
blame people that are against crime for other people committing crime? It's the same thing you did with like our first debate
Wait, no,
was
no, no.
Trump
You
made
need to
black
answer my
people
question first,
beat up
please.
Asians, and it's
Please,
like, are you serious, dude?
you need to answer my
It's
question
just
first.
your arguments are ridiculous on their face. They make no
Why do you think
sense.
people commit crime?
There's plenty of reasons. Why do you think a certain group of people commit more crime than others?
There's plenty
Because
of
of structural
reasons.
history of systemic racism?
Do you
Is that
think that
really played
black
out?
people? Okay, here's a question, a better one. Do you think that black
Here's a
people
really
have
good
some kind
question.
of a?
Why do poor white
Shut the
people not
fuck up.
commit?
Yes, and also yes, poor white people do commit crime as
Triggered.
well. We saw this
Go
with
ahead.
white Italians when they first immigrated here. Okay, that's the first thing. Second of all,
I'm
do
talking
you
about
think
right
that
today.
black people are biologically set up to commit more crime? Or do you think that committing crime is a result of your environment and circumstances? Not that it makes it okay, but just that it's a result of your environment.
Is there a possibility that it's a mixture of both?
So you think that black people have maybe not entirely, but
Can I
have
answer
more
that
so of a
question?
biological
I asked you
leaning
a
towards
question.
committing crime?
Can you grow a pair of balls and actually answer it? Could it be a possibility of a mixture of both? Answer the question.
Could our decisions be a
Oh, there you
result of
go.
our evolution
Not able to
interacting with
answer a
society?
question.
Yes.
Very
Is
direct
there
and
a
straightforward
biological
question.
component to committing crime, specifically on racial lines with black
Yeah.
people? Absolutely
So
not.
people with lower IQs don't commit more crimes than people with high IQs? Are you
You're
really
igno-
going to argue that
you're
point?
ignoring why all of these problems are here to begin with. So do you or
No, I'm
do
not
you not
ignoring
think? Wait,
anything.
now you need to grow some
I'm
balls and answer
talking
the
to you
question.
straight
Okay?
up, dude.
Do you agree or disagree? Do you think that black people have some biological thing that makes it so that they specifically are more likely to commit crime?
Black people overall, no. But there are more low IQ individuals in the black community, and that could lead to more crime.
You're
That's
right.
that's just a fact.
There's really shitty education in that area. Why do you think there's
IQ has
shitty
nothing to
education
do
in that
with
area?
education. You're smarter than that, Hunter.
Wait, no,
You know that's true.
yes, it does. The better education, the more you see IQ
No.
go up over the generations. Yeah, you do.
Really look up a study to see what the difference could be if you have better education
I
versus.
don't need to look up a study. This is a fact. This is why we've been seeing the
It's not a
IQ gap
fact.
close to begin with
IQ
over the last
the
like several
IQ
hundred
test
years
is
or last 100
literally
years, right?
determined based on not taking education into account. That's the whole point. That's why anybody of any age can take an IQ test and you can get like a number that doesn't have anything to do with their education. It's literally how
I'm gonna
well
look that
you
up
can
to check it.
reason and like logically think. Has nothing to do with like what you know about George Washington or some shit or math. It's your basic.
You're just making bullshit up, Rohim.
It's not, dude.
Yeah, you
Look
are.
it up.
I
I
did.
can tell you've obviously never looked this shit up.
I didn't look this up
It's
before.
not
You're
like
right.
an SAT that
Across
you can
142 effect sizes from 42 datasets involving over 600,000 participants, we found consistent evidence for beneficial effects of education on
1 to
cognitive
5
abilities
IQ
of
points.
approximately 1
That's
to 5 IQ
wow,
points
what a
for an
big
additional
difference.
year of
Wow,
education.
1 to 5. That's crazy, dude. That's such a vast number.
Wait, for every
Like, you see
year,
difference
yes.
in
So if you
your
have a
own argument
generation that has
against
low
white people
IQ,
coming in.
and then you
You
see
how
a little,
pathetic
can you shut up, please, for a minute? And then if you see IQ going up,
Go ahead.
even if it is 1 to 5 IQ
Go
points
ahead.
per year of schooling, then
Go ahead.
since there is obviously a hereditary basis to IQ as well, they are then going to birth children that have
Okay, thank you
slightly
for
higher
explaining
IQ. Then they are
Thank
going to
you.
birth children that have slightly higher IQ. And the more that
Thank
we
you.
see these issues getting better, as much as we can make them as better, hopefully,
Really? Are they
then
getting
we will
better?
see the
Chicago,
IQ
where
gap
crime is
continue to
like at an
close.
all-time high, even though we're giving way more money in education.
You just
than
jump from one
any
thing
other
to the
place.
next. You're so desperate right now, and it's sad.
I'm literally
You just
on
told me
point,
a
on
lie.
topic.
I checked
You
it, and it
cannot
turns
take
out you're
facts
fucking lying.
blown
That
up into
education
your
does
fucking
actually have an
face.
effect on IQ.
Yeah, 1 to 5 points. Wow.
Do you understand the argument about generational IQ changes or no?
Go ahead, make your dumb argument.
So if you have somebody who's incredibly malnourished and very dumb and has never gone to school and is
I love
starving,
the way you
whatever,
talk
and then
about
they
black
give
people
birth
in
to
your
a
argument.
child,
That's
and
funny.
so if they have low IQ, it's very likely that they're going to give birth to a child that also has a low
Incredibly
IQ.
malnourished in America,
If
dude.
I'm giving
Our
you
poor
an
people
example,
are
please
obese.
shut the fuck up.
Nobody's
So
malnourished.
I'm not saying
You're
they
just
are. I'm
making
giving you an
shit up.
example, an extreme example, my friend.
You're just making
In an
shit up.
extreme example,
Nobody's
somebody who
malnourished.
is
The internet
malnourished
fake.
and somebody who doesn't have very good education is going to most likely give birth to low IQ kids. On the flip side,
Well,
if
that's
you have
because
somebody
they
that's
had low
nourished
IQs
pretty
to begin with,
properly
correct?
and is getting a proper education, they're going to give birth to kids that have slightly higher IQ. And then you're going to see that increase. This is why, from what, the 1920s till
Why
now,
have all
we've
this-
seen
all
this
of this
gap
money that we've
massively
given
close.
to inner cities for education, not done a single damn thing? Why is
Because
that?
the education in those cities are shit.
Yeah, you know why?
Why?
It's right in front of your face, dude. I don't even have to say it.
Wait, why?
But
No,
you're not
you do,
gonna
because
say-
I don't
you're gonna
know.
say something like, "Oh, it's racist white people." That's why.
No.
Why is it?
Why is it? Why do
Because
you think it
it's
is?
majority black communities that don't
Ah.
care about education.
Mm-hmm.
That
Yeah.
they're just, even if you give them as billions of dollars, it's not going to change their IQ because they don't go to school. They would rather, get in the gangbang, whatever they want to do.
Okay, cool. So, I mean, at least now you've established yourself as like this fucking white suburban kid who's actually just a massive racist.
I mean, it's just.
I
it's just a
wish you
fact.
were trolling, but I know that you're not trolling.
Fatherlessness in the black community, that's not a problem.
No,
I mean,
it
okay, you
is,
can
but a
look
lot
at
of this
ways
is
to
all
talk about
downstream
redlining
effects of systemic
in the
racism, and you just
past,
don't want to
but
hear that.
redlining in the
This is
past,
the thing is
we can
that
totally
I can
fix that
agree
now,
with you
right?
that, wait, hold on. So your explanation for bad education is that black people just don't care about school because for some reason. Obviously, if
average,
you were raised
yes.
in an
On average,
environment in which school is not something that is seen as a positive, it's very unlikely that you're
Yes.
going to take
And
an
who's-
interest in
that's-
school.
that's our fault.
However, you would, can you stop please?
That's white
You would then
people's
need to
fault
ask,
that black people do
I
not
never
value
said it was
education.
white people's fault. You're making that up. You would then need
whose
to
fault
ask
is-
yourself,
whose fault
why
is
does
it?
this, shut the fuck up.
Whose
Why
fault-
does this culture of disregard for schooling exist to begin with? Why is there a gang culture in this
exactly.
society?
Exactly.
Could it have
Thank
anything to do with the fact that
Thank you. And you're
when
just gonna
communities are
leapfrog over it and
particularly
say, "Oh,
adversarial to the
black
police,
people are black
they tend to
people."
form
You just-
gangs
you
and gravitate
victimize them.
towards gangs and other forms of authority? Could that be why?
And you-
Possibly.
and you know what's
Yeah.
funny?
And guess what? That's all a downstream effect of systemic racism.
Sure. And you know what's funny? When a black person actually values education and they actually figure out that, hey, these left-wing idiots are absolutely retarded. So I'm going to go to the right and I'm going to talk more educated. You just call, oh, you're such an asshole. You're fucking PragerU bullshit. Did PragerU write that freaking script for you?
I mean,
like,
it sounded like there was.
dude,
It's definitely
it's like
sounded like they
the
wrote a script.
disrespect you show for black people is insane. And like you call me a racist.
I don't
but
have a
it's like,
disrespect for black people. I have
yeah, you
disrespect for
did.
people
You
that are
called me a
stupid.
racist.
That make dumb. Wait, me calling you a racist is not disrespecting black people. What are you talking about?
You disrespected a black person who
Are
made
you
a
black?
like a decision to go to the political party you don't like, and you're like, oh, he doesn't know the actual historical systems of structural.
What did I say at all about him
systemic
being black?
And it's like you just sound like a fucking idiot, dude.
What did I say about him
You
being
sound like
black?
coping.
What did I say about him being black? Like, do you think that me criticizing a black person is being like mean to like being mean to a black person is different than being mean to someone because they're black? You understand that, right?
Yeah. What is?
So I wasn't disrespecting him for being black. He just happened to be somebody who was black that I was disrespecting.
Okay. And
You're the one
also,
invoking
what is
identity
your-
politics.
What is the point?
You're trying to tell me that I was disrespecting black people because I shat on the guy for going to the right. And I'm explaining that I was not
Well, you
shitting on
sat
him
on
for
the
being
guy
black.
for literally having the mindset that it's not about racism and structural fucking redlining and shit. Like, oh yeah, you're bullshit. You're actually a victim, and you shouldn't be making it right now because
None of this
in
is
the
what I
past people
said.
were
Could
racist.
could you actually
That's
like
literally
properly
your
quote me at
argument.
all? Do you
That's
think you could
literally
give
your
a
argument.
proper summary of any argument I've made at any point?
That is your argument. What is wrong that he said? What is
When did
wrong
I
with that
say that
guy
he
said?
shouldn't be making it? What was wrong, what he said, is that there's no systemic racism at play. Why are black people disproportionately given the death
Yeah,
sentence?
today there is no systemic
So why are
racism. What
black
the
people
fuck are you talking
disproportionately
about?
given the death sentence? Why do black sounding names not get
Because
callbacks
they
with the resumes?
commit more heinous crimes on average.
So black people on
And
average
this is
commit more
on
heinous crimes.
average, by the
No,
way.
this is not even true. When you compare
Yes,
people
it
who've
is.
committed virtually the same crime, black people are still more likely to be
No, they're not.
sentenced. Yes, they are. What are you talking
Absolutely
about right
not.
now? This has been
Yeah.
shown throughout decades, my friends. My friend. I can pull it up, I mean, if you want, but you're just gonna
I
then
mean,
accuse me
you
of like,
can,
well,
but
a study
what does
said
that
so.
prove? Oh, this black guy that killed somebody, he got killed. He got killed by the state sooner than this white guy who killed somebody and didn't get killed by the state. Honestly, I think they should all get killed. If you kill someone, if you're like a horrific first degree murder, a capital murder, they should just kill you right then and there. I don't think
Somebody said
anybody should
black people
wait
commit
for that.
far more
But like
crimes than white
you're
people in
gonna
the
say
US,
like it's
idiot. No.
systemically racist
Mhm.
that we execute like black murderers. That's fucking retarded, dude.
No, what makes it
Obviously
systemic
we're gonna do
racism
that.
is that
They deserve it.
is that there's
So
an
do white
entire
murderers.
conglomeration of problems, okay? So first and foremost, somebody in here said black people commit more crimes than white people. Obviously, we're comparing these per capita. This person, Bleezers, called me an idiot.
Not
Yeah,
only
you're,
per
you're getting
capita,
blocked,
but
Bleezers.
overall
Bye-bye.
too.
Okay, see you later. Adios.
It's not just per capita. It's
So,
overall numbers as well.
so yeah, right. But it's not just death sentence. What it is it's a conglomeration of problems, right? So a lot of the time, since you have disproportionate rates of poverty, you don't get proper access to legal protection. So you're stuck with a shitty state provided legal defense. And
Yeah,
then
but
that's never
what you're
very
seeing
helpful.
now
So
is
now
you're
you're
seeing
getting
black
screwed over.
district attorneys that aren't even prosecuting like Grand Theft Auto, like attempted murders,
You're going to have to give me
based
a
solely
study for
on
that one, my
your
friend.
argument that we are too racist because we're putting too many black people in prison.
He also
Now
noted
you're
that I am an
seeing
ape
actual
and I should
black
go F
criminals just
myself.
getting away with shit. That
No,
seems to be
I
your
never.
prescription for fixing all of this. Is like, nah, just let them commit the crimes. I mean, they're already overrepresented in prison anyways. We gotta just let them do it now because it's not fair
So
because the
listen to this
numbers
one. This is a 2010 study, okay? Mock jurors were given the same evidence from a fictional robbery case, but then shown alternative security camera footage depicting either a light-skinned or dark-skinned suspect. Jurors were more likely to evaluate ambiguous, race-neutral evidence against the dark-skinned suspect as incriminating and more likely to find the dark-skinned suspect guilty.
Yeah.
So even in this
So that
mock
preconceived
situation,
bias,
even
sure.
if you have black people in the jury, you still, yes, have this
Exactly,
preconceived,
yes.
a preconceived
Yes, but
bias,
but
a
that
subconscious bias
preconceived
that's
bias is
negatively
based on
impacting
prior
black people
actions of black
disproportionately.
people.
You're getting it.
That bias is based on the prior actions of black people, not our
No.
recent
That's
racist
what
crimes.
that's what you're confused by. That's not a logical way to go about things. If your day-to-day life is I've been robbed by a black guy or in this neighborhood, so I'm going to stay away from that neighborhood, then okay, maybe. But when we're talking
Yes,
about actual, yeah,
yes,
but when we're talking about the
exactly. That's
court
a
of
good point,
law,
actually.
wait. When
That's
we're
a
talking,
really good point that you just made.
yes,
Obviously,
when
you're
we're talking
now
about
gonna
court
have
of
a
law, though,
bias
that needs to
towards
go out.
black people if you were mugged by a black person, right?
No,
Or
not really.
why would
No, it doesn't make no
why
because now you're making the mistake of extrapolating something that happened onto the race of the person and then extrapolating that to all the rest of the race.
Yeah, but you're allowed to notice like the race of a person. There's nothing inherently
Yeah, you're
wrong
right.
with
But
that.
then saying because I was robbed by a black guy, that means I'm going to stay away from black people is fucking stupid.
Well, if you get robbed in a black area and you say, "Oh, I'm gonna stay away from black areas," I don't think that's stupid at all.
Yeah,
I
well,
think that's
that could
based
even
on
be argued just
survival
in terms of
instincts that
poverty, because
most people
if
would
there's
actually
poverty and
adopt.
specifically income inequality, there's a higher likelihood that you'll be victimized when it comes to like crime or whatnot. So yeah, you can make an argument there if you're like, this area is particularly criminal, so I'm going to stay away from there. Fine. But when we're talking
Yes.
about a court of law, You don't get to just invoke your subconscious bias and to excuse this.
Absolutely. That's what jurors
No, no, no,
do
no,
all the
no.
time.
You cannot
They're
make,
human
no, 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 stop.
beings.
You cannot use subconscious bias if that subconscious bias is now, as demonstrated, resulting in disproportionate negative outcomes for Black people. Why
But
are
then
Black people being
how do you
perceived as being criminal
eliminate
when the
a
white people
juror's
aren't?
subconscious bias? They're just individuals. They're a jury of your peers. They're not like these like political streamers like you
I
that know all
know.
this stuff. You
I
know what I'm
know. And
saying?
that's
They're just a
you're
layman.
proving my point for me, my friend. You're actually becoming based. You're actually becoming majorly based.
I'm already based.
So here's what
The name
we've
of the
come to
beast is
understand
being
now.
based. I've been based from the
We've
start,
actually
Michael.
come to a basic understanding that subconscious bias exists, and it's possible for that subconscious bias to
So
negatively
how do you
affect people,
legislate
and
subconscious
that the
bias? You're not going
subconscious
to get rid of it.
bias is present in most everyday people that they're not even aware of.
Yes.
That's the problem.
Yes.
That's the systemic problem.
Then
That's why you
how do
bring
you
awareness to
figure it
the
out?
issue.
So what is your solution to removing human beings' subconscious bias?
By
You're
having
never
people
gonna
have
do
a
it.
better understanding and education around the fact that bad experiences with certain individuals doesn't mean that you get to be classifying that entire group as bad.
I don't think that's the case, though.
So
The
do you think
case
it's
is,
okay for a
if,
feminist to say she's never going to go around men because one time she was raped?
yeah, I mean that would be. Well, it depends on the race of the guy, right?
No, she said men.
It's a joke. It's a joke.
Okay.
Listen, it's yeah. I just think we're going around in circles because like it seems like you
You
want to
can't answer because you
find a
know
way
it makes it looks bad
to
and you don't want to
legislate
acknowledge
somebody's
that one.
unconscious bias that people are always going to have.
So do you think that it would be fair if a feminist said she doesn't want to go around men because she was raped one time by a man?
All right, listen. I wouldn't say it was fair, but actually I would say it's fair. If a woman is raped and then she's afraid of men for like a year or two or whatever the rest of her life, that sucks, but she has the right to feel that way, obviously.
Well,
Why
everybody has a
wouldn't she?
right to feel a certain way. No, nobody's disputing
Yes.
this. It's about if that feeling is reasonable or well placed.
Maybe maybe it is. Maybe the certain type of man that she's attracted to or something. She got raped and now you know what? I'm not attracted to that certain type of man. I'm going to stay away from
Maybe it
him.
was just
That
men.
is
Maybe it's
very
just like
reasonable
after the
for her
traumatic
to
experience
do.
I've had with a penis, any male I'm done with.
I I
So that
said
would
I
be
said a
like
certain
if
type
you
of
tried
man.
to say hi to her or
Let's
something, she would probably
all
freak
right,
out.
sure. Let's say she was raped by a tall man, right? So now she's afraid of all tall men because it reminds her of her trauma, right? So are
Uh-huh.
you saying it's wrong for her to subconsciously just be afraid of tall men now? Maybe you say it's like it's stupid, it's wrong. You're what that's so fucked up, but she literally has a
Yeah,
justified
so that
anger
that would be
at,
sure. So that
at
would
that
be an
thought.
example of where a personal experience is certainly not logical. Yeah, it doesn't make sense to be afraid of all tall people. But
Right.
if you have some kind of trauma because of this and that brings back the trauma, I think there's a difference there between, okay, maybe this is a little bit irrational, but this is the way you feel, whatever. That versus a court of law. You have to understand there's a difference there, right?
But you have to
Like
understand
court of
that
law is supposed
jurors
to
are
be as
just
objective as
regular people.
possible.
That's what you're not getting, though. You're
No,
not
I
getting that
am
jurors
getting
are just
it.
regular
I'm
people.
explaining that that's where the systemic problem lies, is that the
So are you
subconscious
for
bias
like
of individuals running
abolishing
the
juries
system
then? Are
negatively
you for
impacts Black people
abolishing juries?
disproportionately.
Are you for abolishing juries then? Because everybody has a
No,
subconscious bias.
I
If it's
know.
against
I'm in
white
favor
people,
of
if it's
raising
against black
awareness
people.
of the fact that these subconscious biases exist so that it's more taken into account when scenarios like this are presented.
Okay, so just tell juries, listen, don't be subconsciously biased. Don't like. We already do that, dude. We already actually eliminate jurors based on their subconscious bias. You ask a juror, "Oh, how do you feel about black people?" You know, as soon as you hear that, they eliminate them quick. Boom. So our system is actually one of the best in the entire world. So I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about. How this subconscious bias it's disproportionately affecting black people. When it's like no, dude, they commit more crimes, they get convicted more. It's simple as that.
Well, we're talking about people that have committed the same crime, hypothetically, right? Who would be a white person and a Black person who committed the same crime, have similar criminal histories, and the Black person tends to get far worse sentencing and whatnot.
Well, that's just if it's a hypothetical, then you just pulled it out of your ass, made it
Well, no, no,
up.
no, because
So
that's
sure, I
also what
guess.
this is also what this data suggests also. Um So
Yeah,
yeah, I
but
mean,
the data
the
is based on
systemic, or
actual
sorry, the
people who
subconscious
have
bias. Can hold
unconscious
on, please.
bias that
Excuse
we
me. Can
just
I
keep
finish, please?
looping back around to.
Yeah, no,
Everybody's
because
gonna
the
have it.
subconscious, but right, but that's where you are done. Then you take the beta mentality of, well, everybody has subconscious bias, so oh well, roll
It's
over,
not
give
beta.
up.
It's called being a realistic person. It's called
No,
being
you
like,
don't
yeah, a
just
man
bite.
can't
You don't
really
just
turn
say
into
this
a
is how it
horse.
is, so therefore that's just how it is. And anyone that tries to raise awareness of problems is an idiot. No,
Okay. Okay, then how do we change people's subconscious bias? Oh, we tell them that black people aren't bad. Okay, sure. Well,
no, it's
if
an entire push for better
somebody gets
education,
killed by a
for
black
better
person, you think they're
understanding
gonna
as
listen
to
to you?
why
Be
there's
like, oh,
disproportionate rates of crime.
it
Systemic
doesn't make any
racism,
sense.
education on systemic racism would probably go a very long way in helping. Like this,
Yeah, exactly. You want to indoctrinate people and say, look, white people were racist back in the day.
you're
So now
so stupid.
all the black people's problems, it's all because of racist white folk back in the
You're
day.
so
That's
scared
the reason
of
we want to
like white people
indoctrinate
getting
people.
attacked. Are you okay? Do you feel like really fragile in your whiteness for some reason?
I feel incredible in my whiteness, dude. Oh my god. It feels glorious.
Okay.
It rains down on me like the
Do you
driven
know what
snow.
indoctrination is
The
though?
whiteness
You know
of me.
indoctrination isn't just teaching stuff to people, right?
Well, you're indoctrinating. You're saying that America is still racist, even though we're literally the most. Who has the most?
That's not indoctrination.
What What do you mean?
That's not what
Saying that America's
indoctrination
racist
is.
is indoctrination.
No.
Saying
It's
America right
telling
now is
kids to
racist.
accept something uncritically or telling people to accept something uncritically. So if you said this country's racist and then they said, "Really? Why?" and then you started to shut them down, then that would be closer to indoctrination.
But yeah, but then the kid asks, "Well, why is America racist?" I hear that a lot. Why is that? Well, because black people are in prison more. Well, why is that? Well, it's because, redlining and just no. It's because they commit more crime. And that's just a
Why?
fact. That's a
Okay, what
fact that any data
let's go down the
will
rabbit hole.
only
I'll be the
never
little
admit.
kid here, okay? You say cuz they commit more crime and then I say, "Why, daddy?" Or sorry, "Why, teacher?"
Because systemic racist structures of redlining.
Wait,
That's
what's your
why.
actual answer?
What do you mean?
What's your actual answer?
Oh, to get
Why?
sorry, I thought I was being you. All right, I'll be me. Well, some poorer communities in our country, they have a problem with fatherlessness. They have a problem with their culture where violence is glorified, and because of this, it leads to the glorification of robbing people, of killing people, of murdering the ops or whatever it is, of selling drugs, and
Well,
um,
why? Why do they have that culture to begin with?
that's just how they are. That's just what it
Was
is.
that just like how they
I
were
can't answer
born,
that. I mean,
teacher?
yeah, you
Teacher, were
can
they
play the
born
little
like
kid that asks
intrinsically?
why after every single question.
Wait, no, now I'm
That's
I
very
wait,
immature, but
Timmy has
go
another
ahead.
question.
But
Teacher,
why?
are they
Why is this not
biologically
recognized?
innately set up to to be that way, or do you think that has something to do with the social environment, teacher?
It's probably a little bit of both, I would say. Um, yeah, because you certainly see white
So
folks
black
that are
people are
poor that
born with
don't
some kind
commit
of a
nearly as much
biological.
crime.
Wait, hold on.
So
So black people are. Oh wait,
why
sorry,
does
I'm
that
still being
happen?
Timmy. Wait, teacher, I'm confuzzled. If you're telling me that black people are born
Timmy, I
with some
think
kind
you
of a
shit your
biological
pants. It smells
predisposition
in
towards
here.
committing crime?
Hunter Timmyson, I think you shit your pants. It smells pretty bad in here.
Well, seriously, is that what you're saying though? That there's like a biological predisposition for black people to commit crime?
I mean, that's a very strong extrapolation. I never said anything
You
like
said it
that.
could be a little bit
But
of
there are
both. So if it's
differences
not
between the
social or a
races,
little bit of both, then
obviously.
that means there's some social and some biological.
Obviously.
So do you think there's a biological thing for
There's
black
obvious
people to commit
differences
crime?
besides the color of somebody's skin between the races. That's just a fact that
I'm not
everybody
asking if
knows
you
and
think that there
sees.
is a biological interaction that occurs with every human being where their biological makeup interacts with like society and stimuli, etc., etc. I'm not refuting that. I'm asking if you think that this is on a racial basis, that black people, included in the genetic package to be black, is also the gene that makes it more likely you commit crime. Obviously, it wouldn't be that simple, but
Well, there's a bunch of factors if you've ever actually looked into it. It's on average, listen, I have to always pre-emphasis, but like on average, but it's like lower IQ, higher aggression. I mean, look at sports, by the
You
way.
need to actually. No, I'm not looking at sports till you answer the
No,
motherfucking
look at
question.
sports. Why
Yeah,
do
higher
black
rates of
people
aggression,
dominate
sports,
the NFL?
etc.,
Why do
etc.
black people
Why?
dominate the
Why? Why?
NBA?
Is it
Systemic
biology?
racism? No,
You're such a
because they're
weasel.
different.
Why is
Because they
is
are
it
different.
biology or is it social?
Oh, it's social that black people dominate the NFL and
Well, no,
the
can I
NBA.
explain? So, like, you can have biology in the sense that you're really tall, but then the social part comes in where they say, hey, you're tall, so let's play basketball because this is a sport that is socially constructed that suits you being tall.
But it's not about being tall.
That's part of what helps with playing basketball, but that was also just my example, right? So,
All right.
but that's different than committing crime. So, like, you can't say that black people have genetic predisposition to playing basketball, right? But like black people disproportionately play basketball because there's shitty schools, there's less opportunity, so less jobs. A lot of people have single moms, so they're just out doing their own thing. Like a lot of this is just a social factor. And if someone happens to be muscular or tall and their biology plays a role in benefiting them in this sport, that's one thing, but that doesn't mean they're born with some biological setup to do that sport.
Well, they have an advantage to reach that sport, as evident by 72% of the NFL is black. Now, are you telling me that white kids just don't want to be in the NFL? They're just like, nah, I'd rather be a doctor. No, every freaking white kid that played football in high school
That's not what
wanted
we're
to
talking
be in
about.
the
I'm asking you
NFL.
if you think there's a biological thing on the basis of race that makes it so black people are more likely to commit crime.
Well, like I said, there's a couple things. There's the IQ thing, there's the culture thing, there's the aggression
The
thing.
culture isn't genetic. The aggression thing, how genetic is that? We'd have to look at it. Is it testosterone rates? Is this suppressing emotions? There can be social things that play a role there.
I mean, you could say some culture is genetic. I mean, Europeans invented everything, right?
Wait,
And that was from culture. Was that just from genetics?
you know
Or
they
was
did
that
a
our
big
culture
IQ
to
test
want to
across a bunch of
dominate
European.
worlds?
Hey, you know they did a big IQ test across a bunch of European regions.
Yeah.
And despite the fact that they were all
Ashkenazi
nearly
Jews
genetically
and
identical, they
Asians are
had
the top
vast
IQ.
variations when they're at their IQ. Did you know that?
Yeah, of course. Like Eastern Europeans are pretty dumb. Like
Just
Russians,
thought I'd
Ukrainians.
explain. No. But they're almost identical genetically, but their IQ is varying significantly. So if it was
Right.
IQ and so if genetics dictated IQ to the extent
Almost
that
identical. I mean,
to the
every person
extent
on
that
Earth is
you're trying
almost
to say they
identical.
do, then you would see far more consistency.
Like the variations are very tiny. I mean, most people, you share DNA with
This
like
is false, but I'll pull it up.
99.8% of our DNA. No, 99.9 something like repeated is shared with every human being on Earth. So the genetic differences are so small. It's like it's saying, oh, they're very, very similar. A tiny little freaking offshoot can make a vast difference among like giant populations. This is just it's obvious. It's been proven. I mean, the shit is right in front of your face too.
So
Like,
wait, what's
just
been?
look at
I'm sorry,
history,
what's been
look
proven
at-
exactly? I was looking for something. I missed that. What was proven?
that people are different. Different races are differently disposed to different strengths and weaknesses. Obviously.
Okay, hold on. Trying to find this.
Like you can go into like technological advancement if you want. I mean, you look at Africa and then you look at like Europe.
You realize that you're doing the.
There's a vast
You're
difference.
right.
Why
There
is
is.
that?
What do you think? Wait.
Because of social, like
why? Actually, why do you think
or
that?
is that because
Why do you
people are
think that?
different and evolved in different ways? What I'm getting.
Why do you think that? Do you genuinely think that? Wait. So do black people have a genetic predisposition to like not build as much? You realize there's a fuck ton of social factors that played a role. There was all kinds of hold on, wait. There were other wait, please. There were other issues like please. There were other international problems that were affecting Africa. I'm not very educated on that, but I know that there was some issues there first and foremost. And also, even if you want to look at something as simple as temperature, it being so hot in Africa and the temperature being a little bit more manageable in the European areas could allow for some of these developments. There are so many other factors, my friend. For you to wait, stop. For you to draw from this that culture is genetic or biological is the most laughable, pathetic attempt.
And shit than it is in a warm climate.
You're trying so hard here,
I'm
and none
not.
of this demonstrates your original claim when we're talking
That
about.
people are different? Oh, yeah, so all races are exactly the same. There's no difference between any of them, right? True.
Do you think that's what I said?
Well, my claim was races are different. Yours is, well, you didn't approve that, and then you just,
No, I said races can be different, sure, but if you have a group
Yes.
of people that are all white, that are all genetically incredibly similar, but yet there are vast variations in IQ, clearly it's not just genetic.
Of course it can be. You think two different white people are
Or
the
I'm sorry,
exact
can
same
I
genetically?
rephrase? I realize the disconnect here. It's my problem. It could be genetic, but it's not genetic on the basis of race. That's something that I really need to make more clear. I think that might be why we're having a bit of disconnect. So, like, is there a genetic factor as to why black people have lower IQ? Well, like, yeah, but it's not the genetics on the basis of race. Does that make sense?
No, because it.
So, like, black people having genetics that set it up so that they're black, that's not that does not like a package deal that includes like the low IQ gene.
Well, it's not to say that there aren't like genius black people at all, but I'm saying on a mass scale, you can see those variances play out. I mean, we've seen it throughout history. You've seen,
but you're
Europe,
ignoring all of the external problems and not taking into any of that and just being like, well, I guess it's biology.
well, no, I didn't ignore it. You brought up, well, maybe because Africa is hotter, so it was harder to, and I
No, that's all.
immediately
That climate can
rebutted
affect
with,
that.
it's actually harder to live in a harsher climate with snow and rain in the north.
Yes, but harsh
So, like,
climates, as
that,
far
your
as in
argument is just
persistent
completely
heat, could
beat the
also
fuck
come with
up.
it its own problems. But even if you
That's
want to
what I'm
just refute that entirely, fine. That doesn't prove that any of this is biological. You said, look at Europeans, they invented stuff. Do you think that
They
like
invented
Thomas
everything.
Edison just had
most,
like the create the light bulb gene? Like they had better schools.
Yeah.
They
Well,
had higher
why
IQ.
didn't
They
an
had more
African do it?
education and knowledge.
But where does that come from? What gives somebody the drive to do that?
It could be culture. Could be making sure to reinforce an idea that you need to pursue education if
So
you
it
want to
has
be
nothing
successful
to
in
do
life.
with genetics and a different like brain structure at all. Like that's just thrown out the window. No,
How
no
would somebody
way.
have? So somebody has like a different brain structure that makes it so that, well, if it's like they have no
Yes.
motivation to pursue
Yes.
education at all,
Some
then
people
yeah,
are
they might
very
have a different
smart.
brain
Some
structure. As
people are very stupid.
they
This
might,
just
well, they might have a
happened.
different, they might have a different brain structure as far as like ADHD. Maybe they need medication if they like cannot bring themselves to actually
Everybody
get
does.
motivated.
Everybody has a different brain structure than everybody else. What I'm saying is you see the difference throughout like vast different groups of people
Yes,
when you
but
talk
you
about
keep
like as a
saying this,
whole.
but every time you
As
bring
a
it up, you're
whole,
ignoring the external factors.
I'm not. I never, dude. I started this out with it. It could be a little of both. That was literally my answer to little Timmy. Was it's probably a little bit of both, but for some reason we got lost on this long ass track of basically all I was saying is that races are different. There are differences
You're
across the
backpedaling. What you're doing
population.
is doing a cheap, like weasel approach,
It's
which
not
is
cheap or
all I'm
weaselly.
saying is that races
Direct.
are different. Yeah, no shit. Okay,
Yes,
every
yes.
fucking chimpanzee could tell you that white and black are different. Herder. This is not the actual argument. The argument you're making is that races are different, and the differences of those races is that black people are more likely to have low IQ, commit crime, and have some kind of a culture ingrained
Well,
in their biology.
yeah,
That's what you're saying.
Yes, more than white people. Yes.
Okay, cool. So then we've established that your this doesn't make any sense. Culture
It
is
makes
not
perfect sense, dude. It
wait.
makes perfect sense.
Culture is not biological.
Absolutely does.
How is culture biological?
What do you mean? How is culture
Do
biological?
you think that
It's
culture is
passed down.
biological?
It's passed down through generations.
Wait, so if I have a family heirloom that's been passed down through generations, it's biological?
What? How is that culture, dude?
I'm telling
the
no.
culture come
How is
from?
it
The culture
biological?
comes from the people. Like when you say culture, you just think it's like this gotcha. Like, oh, culture. Well, culture is the people make culture.
I know. Yes,
Individuals
you're right.
make
It's socially
culture.
constructed.
Obviously,
Amen.
it's
Thank you. You're
biological.
almost there. So how is this
Obviously,
like a
people.
biological thing on the basis of race?
What do you mean?
So people create. I'm going to try to walk you through this because I feel like, did you like do some drugs before you got on this call?
I
You're
understand
like
that you're
always
being very
wrong right here. Your
bad-faced and
name's always right,
you're
but you're
gonna
just been
resort to
always
the
wrong.
classic Hunter Avalone. "Oh, are you on drugs? Oh, let me do a stupid gay voice." But you're getting absolutely fucking blown the fuck out again, like I
So
did the
let me
previous
explain
time.
something to you.
But
Something being
anyways,
passed down can be
let's
culture,
get back on
and
track here.
human socially constructing culture is also true. So how is it biological? That's what I'm
Because one
asking.
group of people decided to build boats and explore the world and gather resources, and another they just didn't have it in them to do that ever.
Do you think
And
that it could have
why? Because
anything to
they're
do with
different. Because they were
access to
different.
resources?
What?
Do you think it could hypothetically have anything to do with access to resources?
I mean, the resources. White people had to go find the resources. They had to have that initial drive to be explorers to actually get the resources. So it doesn't make any sense. All the resources are in Africa, actually. Why didn't Africans use those resources to build all this amazing technology that the Europeans did?
Well, at what time
Well,
frame? Because
because
I mean,
they're
I'm reading
different,
here about just
right?
how even how like the slave trade fucked over Africa even more, right? So like
Yeah,
I'm not
when
saying that there were
Africans
no problems
sold their
beforehand.
prisoners
I'm just
to Europeans, you mean the slave trade that Africans sold each other? Yeah, that did suck for Africans.
yeah,
But it
that
actually
could have
it
fucked
ended
up
up being
their area even more
very
so.
good for the ancestors of those
I
Africans
just
that
looked it
made it
up. Why is
to
Africa
America
underdeveloped, you know?
because blacks in America have
Climate
it
change
better than
poses a
blacks in
significant
any
shh, be
other
quiet please.
country on
I'm
earth.
trying to read something.
Good,
Challenges for
because
Africa: hunger, malnutrition, decolonization, economic growth.
stop owning me. I have to read this article and study real
I'm
quick.
not trying to
Hey,
own you. I'm just
I'm
trying to
fucking call, I'm
shed some
debating.
clarity on
I'm not
here.
gonna fucking stop and just.
So do you understand the problem here, right? So that I'm saying, hey, of course there are differences, and Africa does seem to be underdeveloped compared to some European areas. But
Does
the
seem to
reason for
be.
this goes
Do you want to
can
make
I
a more
finish, please,
definitive stance
explaining this?
there? I'm not
That
gonna
there's
let
a
you weasel
difference.
your way out
I'm
of
not
that. No, no, no,
weaseling my
no,
way
no,
out of
no, no,
anything. I'm trying to explain to you
no, no,
that
no, no, no.
you can say, hey,
Africa
these
is
countries
way
are
more
different, some are underdeveloped,
underdeveloped
but you
than
cannot
Europe.
say it's because
Don't
of some
weasel your way
biological
out of
thing
it.
with race.
What do you? What?
Can I talk now? Are you going to let me?
Go ahead.
Okay. I can acknowledge for you that yes, Africa's underdeveloped compared to Europe. It has been historically, sure. But your conclusion is, well, it's just biological on the basis of race. And my conclusion is,
Because of the
well,
people
just if
that
there's
did
some
the shit.
biological
Yes.
factors at play, which is the case for everybody, there are way more social and external factors which have contributed to this, like, yes, climate change, colonization, slave trade, etc. So, just
Climate change.
saying it's
So
the biology, dude,
Africans didn't build
doesn't make
two-story
any
buildings because of
sense.
climate change. I mean, do you see how far you're reaching, dude?
Well, these
Like
are
you're
in
you're
fairness, the
hoping
climate.
so
Okay, in
hard.
fairness, the climate change thing is
Come on,
challenges
man.
that are currently facing Africa. So I will revoke the climate change statement I made. But
Please
yes,
do.
history of being, according to this Journal of Social, Political, and Economic Studies, Africa's underdevelopment is its history of extraction, characterized by two events: the slave trade and colonialism. The African countries that are the poorest today are the ones from which the most slaves were taken. So yeah,
Okay,
these are
so
areas that could have been really
the
fucked over.
African countries that sold their people off, they're the ones that are struggling today.
We'd have to
That would
look at
make
how many
sense.
people actually sold their people off and how many people were just like kind of kidnapped or whatnot. I'm not too clear on that, but I don't know if
Well,
that
you should
matters
be
that
clear on
much
it
because what
because we didn't
matters
just
is
round up
that
Africans and take them.
partaking in a
We
slave
literally
trade.
bought them from
Obvi-
other Africans. You should probably get more clear on that if you're
so
like a
wait,
political debater.
I'm gonna hang up on you soon because I'm not able to like
Because you're
go
getting
anywhere.
beat the fuck up. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm
I,
getting
I
so wrecked right now, dude.
I'm
I've been
surprised you let me
destroyed.
beat your ass this long.
I know, man. You're so crazy. Um, so do you understand though that because we can look at some of these other external factors that have really negatively impacted Africa, that it's a little bit disingenuous to just be like, look, there's the lack of development in this area where there's black people, so therefore this is a biological thing on the basis of race.
No, because every country has had those external factors.
Not
Like,
to the same extent.
of course. What are you talking about? More wars were fought in Europe than Africa. At least
Well,
recorded
that's
wars, at
different than
least
that. Yeah,
big,
but I mean,
large
that's
scale
they're gonna have different
wars.
effects and
And
whatnot.
you're
I'm
gonna
just
say,
wondering if
yeah,
you're
exactly.
dodging right now. So
I'm not dodging. I'm literally directly answering you and beating the
So
fuck
do
out of
you
your
or do
argument.
you not think
That's
then
like the 10th
that
time you said I'm dodging when I'm
so if
as
there's
direct
a
as
wait, so
possible.
if there are other factors at play, external factors that fucked over this country and caused underdevelopment, then where's the
Why
disagreement here?
why why didn't those external factors cause Europe to be underdeveloped? Why is Europe
Well, Europe
thriving?
was partaking in the slave trade, and Africa was
So
being
was Africa,
extracted
dude.
in the favor of the slave
So was
trade.
Africa.
It was being extracted. Yes, they were having resources extracted.
They didn't know how to extract the resources from their own land, or they would have.
No, no, no.
That's the whole point.
African citizens were
People are
being
different.
extracted from
Yes.
their region and brought to Europe. So for you to say,
By other
why is the
Africans,
one
by
who's
other
losing
Africans that
resources
sold them.
not doing
Yes.
as well as the one that took the resources? Herder. You understand?
So Africans were just minding their own business, and then all of a sudden, oh, big bad Europeans came in, and they didn't fight wars over it or
Did I say
anything.
any of this?
They
At all?
just weren't smart enough to use those resources to
You're not smart
create
enough to continue this
technology.
conversation, clearly. I
Dude,
honestly, I
you just
understand
got
now
your
why I
ass
ban you
fucking
because you're
reamed out,
so
bro.
fucking
That was a
stupid.
really
It's
bad
actually
move
sad.
career-wise on your part
Really, really
to
sad for you.
actually accept this call
Yep.
because you just got destroyed.
I
So
got so
fuck
wrecked,
off.
bro. So basically, what we've established is well, race is different, but that has nothing to do with IQ on the basis of race. He tried to claim that culture was biological and then acknowledged it was socially constructed.